can't buy peace. And money can't allow you to hear God's voice. And money will not allow you to know for sure what's going to happen when you die before you die. There's hope and knowing. I like knowing better, but I was taught and so I take this course, and they teach me through mental exercises how to almost hypnotize myself, lower my brain waves. When I'm in this docile, non-combative type of state, they said, invite an imaginary friend into your head. And I did this. And they said, I know but listen, what did I know? You know, a famous rabbi said, if a blind man leads another blind man, won't they both fall into a ditch? You know, so, well, one day he gets really upset with me, and he walks up to me, and he says, Sid, do you know you're involved in spiritual adultery? And I said, no. Oh, Lonnie, how would you like someone to tell you that? No, I don't know that I'm involved in spiritual adultery. And he says, yeah. Take a look at the Torah in Deuteronomy 18th chapter. Read it for yourself.
Well, now let me ask you a question. What did Torah mean to you at this point?
It didn't mean diddly to me.
Okay, that
to be quite candid, I left this wonderful job, and now I'm in trouble with God, assuming that God is really interested in me as an individual, assuming that the Torah is really from God. I don't know any of this, but just in case, Lonnie, just in case, I go into neutral gear. And I say, okay, I'm going to just read the Bible a little bit, find out more about my own Jewish scriptures.
Who was God to you at this point?
I knew. It was one of these things I knew. I knew that it was evil. I knew that the Torah was telling me the truth, that it was an abomination to be involved in the New Age. And let me tell you, last thing I was looking for is Jesus. Last. All I wanted to do was close this door that I'd opened in the new. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't know what to do. If I went to my parents, who would have given their life for me, they couldn't help me. They would have sent me to a psychiatrist. What could a psychiatrist do? I'm hearing voices, doctor. Wait. I didn't have anywhere to go. And so I called my wife. My wife, by the way, was raised Southern Baptist, became an agnostic in college with all the atheistic professors, and then converted to Orthodox Judaism when we got married. So as you might say, she was a Southern Baptist, agnostic, Orthodox Jew. But I figured every Southern Baptist, agnostic, Orthodox Jew knew Jesus, right? Well, I called her up because we're separated, and I said, Joyce, pray for me. Things are bad. I wasn't even going to tell my parents what was going on. I wasn't going to tell my wife what was going on. For sure, I wasn't going to tell my rabbi what was going on. I had nowhere to go. And I went to bed on the worst night of my life. And remember the young boy I told you about that had these thoughts about death? And it was so awful to think about whatever is me not being here anymore. It was but life was too hard. I was one of these positive thinkers, Lonnie. I was one of these people that I could not relate to someone with a mental breakdown. I could not. They're weak people. I could do anything I could set my mind to.
So
I could accomplish it. Yeah, but every one of us is human. And back after this word. Don't go away.
We'll be right back to It's Supernatural. We now return to It's Supernatural.
Sid Roth here with Lonnie and Lane, two Jewish people that are madly in love with Jesus, Yeshua, the Jewish Messiah. When I was talking about the peace that I experienced, you made an interesting observation, Lonnie.
It's never circumstantial. The peace of God is unlike anything that you can
It doesn't
obtain.
matter what's going on in your life.
It really doesn't.
And it's not being an ostrich either, because when you're in that peace of God, you're in God's presence. And when you're in God's presence, who can come against you? What can come against you? Nothing can come against you. And by the way, remember that young man that was so afraid of death? Let me tell you something. This life is a blink of the eye compared to eternity that has no end. But I'm experiencing a little bit of that eternity in this life. So I have no fear of death. And when you have no fear of death, you have no fear of anything. Oh, I don't want to hurt. I would hurt just like anyone else, whether it's emotionally or whether it's physically. But I have such trust and faith in God. I'm never alone.
For people who don't understand that, what does that mean? You're going to die one day. You're physically going to die, but you know that there's a whole destiny for you.
Oh,
eternally.
yeah.
To be with the Lord. And
yeah, the Jewish prophet Daniel talks about it. Daniel says, those that are buried in the dust, some shall rise to everlasting life. That's eternity. Everlasting means it never ends. That's eternity. Some shall rise to everlasting life, and some to everlasting condemnation, meaning that whatever choice we make in this life, it affects us throughout all of eternity. Well, as I said, my mom, she was proud of her son, but my dad, that was another story. I want to go to a clip right now of my difficult relationship with before I knew the Messiah, and even after. It was sort of like I betrayed everything he stood for, and he was ashamed that I was a believer in the Messiah.
No apparent reason, Sid felt a tangible presence of God surround him. 24 hours a day for many days, Sid experienced this special presence of God as it overflowed from his spirit. Then,
I am so blessed. But you might say, that's good, Sid. But what about me? I wrote a song many years ago. I used to be a songwriter, and the song was called There Must Be Something More. And I remember the words. The words went like this: because I work, eat, sleep, and that's the way it goes. Because I work, eat, sleep, and that's the way it goes. There must be something more. And if you're an artist like Lonnie Lane is, or a songwriter like I was, we reflect what's in our heart when we create. And that's what my heart was reaching out for. I didn't know what this something more was. No one told me about Jesus. But I'm so grateful to God. And that's why I want you to think for yourself. I want you to know the facts. In Isaiah, the 53rd chapter, written 800 years before Jesus came to earth, I read that to my Orthodox Jewish father. And my father said, stop. You're reading about Jesus. My Orthodox Jewish father knew that the 53rd chapter of Isaiah described Jesus perfectly. It goes like this: who will believe the report of the prophets? And to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? He shall grow up as a tender plant and a root out of dry ground. He'll have no form nor comeliness, and when we Jewish people see him, there'll be no beauty that we should even desire him. He'll be despised and rejected by man. A man of sorrows and acquainted with grief, and we will hide our face. But he was wounded for our transgressions, bruised for our iniquities, and by his stripes we were healed. All we like sheep have gone astray, everyone to his own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquities, the sins, the wrongdoings of us all. And when I read that, and when I read Jeremiah 31:31, which says, behold, the days come in which I'll make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah, not according to the covenant I made with their forefathers, which they violated anyway, but this is the covenant I will make with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. I, God, will remember their sins no more, and they will know me. I can tell you that as a Jewish man, I know God. Lonnie Lane can tell you as a Jewish woman, she knows God.
that's right.
I can tell you that 4 generations of Lonnie's Jewish family know God. I can tell you every member, my Jewish mother, my Jewish father, my Jewish sister, my Jewish brother-in-law, my Jewish wife, my Jewish daughter, every member of my immediate Jewish family knows that Jesus is the Messiah and knows God. The question I have for you is, do you know God? I have some good news. You don't have to be Jewish to believe in Jesus. It kind of helps, but you don't have to be Jewish to believe in Jesus. Think for yourself. Ask God to show you the truth. Ask the question. Ask God the question. Don't ask me the question.